Again, my name is Karen from the Home Modification Occupational Therapy Alliance-HMOTA, and we have our special guest today, Mike Foti from Innovative Building Solutions.
All right. Well, as Karen had said, our goal today really is to make you aware of some products that can provide not only bathrooms which are safe, which is obviously critical for the population of folks you're working with, but I would also argue stylish, sellable. You'll see another few features of it. So I'm going to take you through, first what the goals of the program are. I'm first going to talk to you about that front picture there is actually, if anybody ever gets out to Ohio, which that's where I live, this is actually in a company called, if anybody's ever heard of J-Tech Solutions, this is actually in a showroom of J-Tech Solutions, shows a low profile pan. And those are all grout-free wall panels that we provided. And then if you're looking at a lot of those accessories, those grab shelves and wall-mounted vanity, a lot of that stuff is actually from Ponte Giulio, and I know a number of you kind of work with Ponte. But anyway, the goal of this is really going to talk about how you can improve outcomes for clients and your earnings with accessible and age-in-place bathroom products or projects. So first, I'll just tell you a little bit about me, and I've left off, everything about, being arrested, being a member of fraternity, all the stuff that might be embarrassing in my life. None of it is included on here. So just tell you a little bit. First is I am not an OT. I do not play one on TV. I don't know, Karen, are there any OTs that play a part on TV? I didn't know that. I was thinking about that.
Actually, there's a OT in something called Runaway Jury movie.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have one, but anyway, that is not me. I am also not a medical professional. My wife can attest to this. She just went with me to an appointment with my heart doctor today, and she's the smart one. But I did marry one, so she's a non-practicing podiatrist. So I'm familiar with the medical world through marriage, but I'm not a medical person. However, I am definitely, I would call myself a bathroom geek. I lead a business. It's called Innovate Building Solutions. We're headquartered out of Cleveland, but we wholesale around the country different bathroom products, and we also have a remodeling division. So unlike just a company that sells stuff, we actually work with these products day in and day out on some of our regional locations. Today, my focus is going to mostly be on the quote unquote wet area of the bathroom. And by wet area, I mean the shower tub area. I mean, we will do and get involved in things outside of it, but our company is not focused on things like toilets and vanities and things like that. So the focus is really going to be on that. So what am I going to go through today? First, some of it may be somewhat general, but I'm going to get into products kind of while I'm doing this. But why even help clients with bathrooms? So why is always important. I'm going to talk a little bit about, from what I know about it, why I perceive that some occupational therapists might be a little bit hesitant to help clients more with bathrooms beyond recommending product. I'm going to talk about, why sell bathroom products, why become or collaborate with a bathroom contractor. I'm going to touch on what I call the 5 S's of accessible age-in-place bathroom success. And then how to get started. Probably the most important part might be the end, which is how to get started selling or contracting what area products or projects. And then the last thing, I'm just going to talk about who you're going to call if you need help. So anyway, that is the goals of it. So why help clients? Okay, some of the stuff basic falls. I mean, obviously your expertise is to make bathrooms safer. Obviously, as probably most of the people in this call know, more people die from falls than die from cancer. So the ability to reduce falls is huge. And since the bathroom is the #1 place that falls occur and accidents occur in a home, it's certainly an area to focus in on. Okay, second reason, would be make sure the job is done right. Can anybody see anything with that grab bar? Do you like the placement of that grab bar? What do you think about that grab bar and where it's at, and if that's a good thing or not a good thing?
I
I
can't answer
can't
your
answer your
question because I would
because
need
I
to
would
see the
need to see
person
the
and the
person and the
environment.
environment.
Okay, all right, very, very good. I know generally, people might say it's better to put that horizontally than vertically, but I think a lot of them are put vertically like this just because that's where they can find studs. So, a lot of times, because a contractor is a contractor, as many people may know, that does not mean they are going to necessarily put the products or use the right products for your client. So the more that you can have an influence on what's used and potentially profit from what's used, the better. So anyway, that's just a thought there. Next thing is market opportunity. The bathroom market is a huge market. Most of us have, maybe two, maybe three bathrooms in a home, and the ability to make a bathroom safer becomes obviously critical if somebody, has an accident or something like that. Now, this bathroom here, and as I go through, I'll identify some things. This bathroom here, this is not subway tile. These are literally laminate wall panels that click and lock together. They're about 2 foot by 8 foot, and they go up much faster than, let's say, a traditional subway tile would. And they look actually very realistic. And then this is this stone, this marble looking shower pan is not marble. It's actually a cast stone product that comes in from Spain that is got a 1 1/6 inch, and I'll talk more about this as we go on, 1 1/6 inch low profile. So these are pans that are simple to get into. Now this one here, because it was curtains used, a water stopper was used on the outside edge of this. But again, here's an example of really a grout-free, more time-effective to install, accessible bathroom that looks stylish. Another reason to help clients with bathrooms is help them find the money. So, I am sure that people on this call, you've had situations where, you recommended certain things only to find out that maybe the person didn't know how to get the money to make those, safety, those improvements happen. So the ability to be involved with and understanding of, are there programs that might be able to help somebody have the money to do the job? That's all, I think, great places where OTs can help clients with bathrooms. So, why, might the hesitation be there? Well, the one thing, and I guess I'd ask this question, if anybody want to respond to it, what makes bathrooms maybe a little more challenging than some other rooms to be involved with, or isn't it? Is there any thoughts on that?
I
I
think
think
you
you
highlighted
highlighted
it.
it.
Cost is
Cost is
part of
part
it.
of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yep, finding the money can be challenging. And then I would say when you look at bathrooms, the reality is the cost per square foot to remodel a bathroom is pretty expensive. There's a lot going on in a bathroom. There's plumbing, there's electrical, there's framing. So the ability to think through what needs to be done, who's going to do it, what's it going to cost, and make it a profitable project and know what products to use, that is not necessarily simple. So that can be one reason that bathrooms can be, some people might hesitate and say, I don't even know, how do I do that? Where do I start? That type of thing. And we're going to talk today about where you can start and how you can get help. And I'll chat more about that. Another, reason for hesitation, beyond the fact that it's a big job, is that contractors may treat you like they're the big elephant and you're the little, person. You bring a lead maybe in somebody that, that they can help, but then the contractor may just push you to the side and say, okay, I'll take it from here. And so, why will they do that? Well, they may want to make money on the materials and the labor. So the question becomes, how could you develop a relationship with that contractor? What might that contractor look like? What type of contractor might they be? that would be the best one to partner with if you're an OT. We'll talk more about that, but that can be challenging because a lot of times contractors say, okay, give me the lead and I'm going to run with it. So another thing that can be difficult is to be successful, you may need a partner, maybe a construction partner. If you're in a state where, let's say, you could be the contractor, the access to products and the knowledge of what products to use when, and this can be challenging because there is a lot out there, and so it is not a one size fits all thing. And then having the people to pull a project off if you're doing the contracting, or if you're collaborating with a contractor, making sure you're with somebody that's good. Obviously, doing bathrooms, there is a risk, and these are bigger dollar projects. So, if something is dramatically underbid, and it's your first job, that may be a bad situation. So these are things. And then lastly, depending on what state you're in, there may be a barrier to entry, which is having a license to be the contractor. So these may be some of the things that might make people hesitant to do it. So why do it? Why sell bathroom products? Why either collaborate potentially with a bathroom contractor or become one, let's say, in some cases? One might be the ability to diversify income streams. I know I was literally talking to one home access contractor last week that's now looking to develop a showroom to grow the private pay part of their business, because some of the publicly funded streams, they're worried about funding cuts and federal funding cuts kind of trickling down to them at their state. So, the ability to diversify what you're doing can be very helpful to make sure that your business stays, relatively on the upswing. Another would be just becoming more valuable in this high risk room. I'm sure you see a lot of people, most people don't think about their bathroom, they use their bathroom. And especially if something happens to them medically and it happens all of a sudden, they need help and they need it now. So, the ability to be that person can be, so helpful to that homeowner. The other could be the idea of I'm going to say the one-stop shop. I'm sure when something challenging happens medically, or somebody's coming home from the hospital in a short order, and they need to have modifications made, the ability to think through not only what's going on medically, but what they may need to do with their physical home is very challenging. So the ability for them to get more help under one roof, if you will, can be very enticing. So if you're there, you have answers, you can quote products, you can work and collaborate with a contractor, become a contractor if you go down that route. That can be a very good value proposition and a profitable one as well. So, and then lastly is, reason to work in the bathroom and go beyond maybe strictly recommending products to either selling the products and or performing work in conjunction with a contractor, is the ability to not only grow personally, because there's a lot to learn. I know as somebody been in the bathroom business, I am learning all the time, but there's also the ability to grow your earnings as well. So, all right, I want to talk briefly about what I call the 5 S's of accessible remodeling. So, first one, safety. Anybody looking at this, which bathroom would you rather have? Would you rather have the one on the left that says transfer seat, grab bars, or the one on the right? And maybe why? Any thoughts on that? Okay, I know it's a little hard because we're not in a group environment, can't see each other, but I don't know. For me, I'm taking the one on the right, hands down. The one on the left, while safe, right? There's a transfer seat, there's niches in there, is very institutional looking. It's a fiberglass shower, chrome grab bars. It's not bad. It's not a bad looking thing. But the one on the right, this one uses grout-free wall panels that click and lock together. It's got a white marble pattern. You'll see this thing here. I don't know, if most people recognize it. That's a product called a grab shelf. That can be very helpful because it's sort of a BOGO special. Buy one, get one free. You can put your soap and shampoo into this bottom piece, and it serves as a grab bar as well. So it's kind of a double up. This one also has got nicer looking fold down seat and a low profile pan, again with a water stopper. So while everybody on this call knows, hey, we're going to be about making bathrooms safer, there's also a lot of things you can do to make it more stylish, and I'm going to highlight those as I go along. So this over here, this is a grout-free wall panel system we supply to one of our contractors actually. These are 8-foot high wall panels. You'll see that they maintain the window in there to make this thing safer and brighter. Some matte black trim used around the side, around the edges. Got a handheld shower, grab bars on this, and so you're seeing here really a safer, lower. This was about a 2 3/4 inch low profile pan. So using low profile pan, grout free wall panels, which simplify the installation, and yet you're still having a safe installation. So most people, when they think of home access bathroom projects, think of safety. But a lot of the safety, and I would say one of the negatives to a lot of the safe, quote unquote, safe products is a lot of them just look institutional and boring. And I know for myself, if I had some traumatic accident, I would not want to have a bathroom that reminded me that it looked institutional like a hospital. I would want something that looked nice, right? So if a client can afford it, is there a way to go beyond just safety, have safety first, which is item number one, but to make something that is nicer? The second S of an accessible bathroom remodel, I call it simplicity. And no, this is not a picture of my wife. It was. I might be the late Michael Foti, but no, that is when you think of cleaning grout in a tile shower, that is not anybody's idea of a good job. Below, this is actually another project with grout-free wall panels that click and lock together. This is a black hexagon pattern that we have. This is a white high gloss 24 by 12. So again, the ability to create a really stylish looking shower that is time effective to install, that is simple, because if somebody's aging in place, probably their desire to be in here cleaning grout is probably not very high. So now this literally, and I'll say that it's a bit of a ringer of a picture. This is literally my own shower. Now some people like the glass block, and our company started as a glass block company. We still do this to today, but we wanted a more open shower, so these are cracked cement grout-free wall panels. If you look in here, we've got a recessed niche, a large recessed niche. And of course, about 80–90% of the products in here are my wife's. That's why she's pretty. I've got about 10% of it. This is a grab bar that looks like a towel bar. And so again, we wanted, and this is a stone low profile shower pan. So with a guarantee that literally is one word, it's forever. So, the goal really with this shower for us, we wanted, a very low step pan. Our old shower was about 4.5 inches up. We wanted low maintenance. These are luxury vinyl plank out here, got rid of the tile. This was carpet back in the day. Our builder put carpet in the bathroom. So part of it, we paid the upgrade for the tile here, but we had carpet. So this is all, grout-free product. So again, second, I would say, key feature of a successful home access project in a lot of ways is one that's simpler to maintain for people.
How high is that threshold?
That particular one was 2 3. No, that was a 1 3/4. So in this one line that we have, Karen, we've low profiles like 1 3/4, what's called mid height curve. It's 2 3/4, and then there's a full height curve that's 4. But I also inventory. We import a line from Spain, and I'll show you this later on in the presentation. It's a 1 1/6 inch low profile stone shower pan with 2 tons of weight capacity. It's literally a solid pour. So nobody's going to step on there and feel any deflection whatsoever. So there is a lot of options in low profile pans, and even ones I'm going to tell you a little bit about with ramp kits that I like the idea of. So, all right, the third S in here is what I call space expanding. One of the challenges most people have is most people don't have huge showers. And, they may be banging their elbows as they're showering. They need more space. Or worse yet, they may be putting bottles of shampoo and conditioner literally on the shower floor. a accident waiting to happen if there ever was one, because they have ineffective storage. So in doing an accessible shower, a lot of people kind of overlook the storage needs. So in this case here, that is a matte black horizontal recessed niche. We have in our line literally 7 different sizes of niches from vertical and horizontal. We've got 10 different finishes. So these things do not have to look generic. Now that grab bar there, there's a grab bar there from Ponte Giulio, and this is a pretty cool product. I think this is Moen. This handheld shower can go up here, and then there's a little, it's hard, a little hard to see it, but at the bottom there's actually a place where there's a fold down seat in this shower. You can sit down and either shave your legs, or if you got a client that's seated while showering, they can do that as well.
Are you able to
Mhm.
grab where you want in that shower?
Am I able to what? Put what? I'm sorry?
Grab bars?
Yes. So in this particular shower, with these laminate wall panels, there is some different backer board systems that can be used. They can either be full sheets of OSB or plywood that's behind there, which we still recommend to put backing even behind that, but or you can glue them up over moisture resistant green board or over strips of OSB or plywood. So if you go with full sheets of OSB, you could go straight through the wall. These wall panels are 3/8 of an inch thick. It's a high pressure laminate over a marine grade plywood with a vapor backing. So you could go through that and then into the backer board behind it. So if you do full sheets, these grab bars could be put anywhere, but we still would at least try to make sure that at least one end of it is into a stud as far as the bar goes. Now, when you look at this old shower, what do you not like about this, other than this? What bugs you about this particular shower when you look at it?
The molded seats.
Molded seat. Yep, to me, when you look at this, and this I think was even like a 48-inch shower. I mean, while the theory of the molded seat is good, the practice leaves very little room for people who aren't going to be, let's say, seated while showering. So to me, I am not a big fan of that. Obviously, these sliding glass doors, even if you did have a patient using this, this is a 48-inch shower, these sliding doors, the ability to get in here is going to be pretty doggone tight with this, with this molded seat. I'm not a huge fan of these molded seats. If you can get away with it, I'd eliminate it. The other thing is that I tell people, and this is just a drawing of a tub. When most people, what they don't think about of a tub is what's called the bathing well. It's I know there's a hotel that I stay at, and it's got a very very heavily pitched on the inside bathing well. So there's not a lot of space inside of there, and it even makes it harder and more of a trip hazard to get in. So obviously, doing a tub to shower conversion. Now this one was done all with grout-free product. This is that stone shower pan that I'm going to show you a separate image of, with the 1 1/6 inch low profile pan with a sliding 3/8 inch thick door. These are grout-free wall panels, one called light wood, this one's called charcoal. again, matte black. This is a horizontal niche and with a handheld. So, this is a very nice age-in-place tub to shower conversion. And this whole project, really, if you were taking out the old tub and putting this in, you'd be there 2 days, 2 people, a crew that's reasonably proficient, not amazingly fast. 2 people, 2 days to convert a tub that could have been in here into a shower, and to look stylish like this as well. So those are some ideas about space expanding. The other is something I don't think a lot of people think about with accessible showers is what I'm going to call sellability. When you put in a ramped shower pan, and while somebody may need a ramp, they're in a wheelchair, you say, hey, they need a ramp. Yes, they need a ramp. But the challenge could be if I put a ramp in, my mom right now is 92. So let's say I redid her shower and we thought she might need, to be in a wheelchair. We put a ramp base in there. And then let's say 2 years down the road, mom, just dementia sets in and we need to move mom into a community facility. Well, the ramped pan may prohibit the home from being sold because some people would say, well, wait a second, I'm not in a wheelchair. I don't want a ramp pan. So, one of the things to think about when we're designing is, could design it as a 1-level wet room, which is more complex, but also could design it using a product I'm going to show you later, which is a ramp kit, which is a stone piece that is put up next to the pan. So, if you go to sell that thing down the road, you're not going to run into a case where somebody's going to say, well, I don't want that ramped pan in there. It looks too institutional, looks too much, like somebody in a wheelchair lives here. So I think one of the things to think about is, will a ramp shower sell? As we know, Father Time is undefeated, and so nobody's going to probably be in there forever. So will the ramp live well and sell well? It's just something to think about with any kind of home access. Is it going to look institutional, and is it going to hurt resale? And lastly, I'm going to talk about stylish. This is a grout-free wall panel system called Aberdeen Brick. This is a little fabric. I had never seen these before. One of my dealers, a company called Graceful Transitions, used this fabric caregiver screen. I hadn't seen that. Thought it was kind of cool. But again, kind of clean, open, stylish, grout-free, time-effective to install. This is a pattern we call Greystone. This is a stone low-profile pan, and what's neat about these pans that we have is the flanges of the pan that help to waterproof it are put on at the site. So this pan is literally 36 wide by 48 deep. It's hard to find a standard pan that is, you can come in on the 36-inch side. Most of them come in on the 4-foot side. And so with this one, a standard shower pan that's stone, has 2 tons of weight capacity, can be used in this longer skinny shower because of this low profile pan. Again, this is just a vertical niche in here. And then this is another low profile pan, 3/8 inch thick doors, a pattern we have called Black Hexagon. Again, this is, a nice age in place project, which looks cool. It's got definitely some style. Now, we might contrast this floor to improve from an access standpoint. Maybe this could have been darker. But anyway, just a cool look to it. Yes.
If you could turn your audio down a bit, it might vibrate every time.
If I could do what with my audio?
Turn it down. Just a little bit.
Let's see here. Escape out of here. Let's do this here.
And there's some questions that you might want.
All right, Karen, how does that sound? Is that better?
You sound good. That sounds better.
Okay, I got that turned on. Sure. All right.
And I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. Okay. And you were saying, did you say there were some questions?
Yeah, in the chat.
Okay.
I would read them to echo.
Okay.
If you look at the top of your on the right side, there's two speech bubbles and chat.
I see share. I see, let's see if this is it. No comments. That's a comment. Present teams. I have a share. I have a.
Can you turn down your volume just a bit more?
I can.
Thank you.
Okay, is that better?
I think it is. Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
All right.
So Gail asked, what are free wall panels made of?
Okay. These particular panels are a 3/8 inch thick. It's a high pressure laminate over a marine grade plywood with a vapor backing. So it's a product that clicks and locks together. They're 2 foot by 8 foot panels that click and lock together. If you think of laminate flooring, but you think of a 2 foot by 8 foot piece that weighs 26 pounds that you might carry in like a guitar, that is really what a laminate. And I could take you at some point to my site and show you those also. And or for anybody who in this presentation says, "Ooh, this is interesting stuff. I'd like to learn more about it." Happy to set up a one-on-one Zoom with you, phone call with you, send you samples. There's all sorts of stuff, so I can share as well. Karen, were there other ones in there?
Yes. Do you see any other devices?
Have any other what?
Devices on?
Devices on? I don't think so.
Okay. So I'm trying to find. Do you need to find stud with grab for these panels?
With the panels, no. That's the reason you're either using sheets of OSB behind it, full sheets, or strips of OSB behind it. So they're either mechanically fastened to the studs, or you can use what's called moisture resistant green board, and they can be glued up as well.
Can you find the because we can't get rid of that.
Can't get rid of
it's two little bubbles like in a comic book where people
I don't think it's that. Is it supposed to be in the upper right hand corner?
It's in the upper right corner for me. I don't know about anyone else. There's like a little. This is 42, and then next are the two little bubbles.
Right. I'm in that in the right hand corner. I've just got
The top.
Yeah, I'm all the way at the top. I got my name. I've got minimize. I've got the maximize. I want to hit the maximize. Nope. Okay.
Do you see in the middle where it says sensitive camera?
It says record. There's a button that says record. Present in Teams. Do you want me to click on that?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, it is. For some reason, not. I am not seeing that. And that's all the things I'm seeing in the upper right hand corner.
Can you do a screen of your screen and then share? Or I guess this. I don't know what to do with this.
Karen, could everyone turn off their mic?
I googled this. This hasn't happened before. Where everyone presenter echoes, and it says that his volume is high, and that his microphone is picking it up. reverberate.
Okay.
It'd be nice if we could use the chat.
Yeah, and I am not seeing anything up at the top here. I mean, there's share. It's not in the share button, no.
Look at the bottom.
Okay. Sure, just sizes of the screen, notes, normal, notes, slide sorter, reading view, slideshow. This is just resolution, size, zoom. Let's look in the bottom left, accessibility.
Are you sure your phone's off?
You talking to me? My phone is off?
Or maybe you have tabs open for meetings mentioned. But I was really hoping you could find the chat.
This is just clicking out of that. Seem to have anything else open.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just hoping it would be interactive because I'm very interested in presenting.
I see no bubble here whatsoever. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at everything around the perimeter. I mean, I don't see it. Yeah, and on the voice thing, let's see here. Camera, Copilot system, no. Okay. I don't know. Do you want me to continue? What would you like me to do?
Yeah, go ahead and nice. So the chat usually comes up, so if you notice it.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we had gone through these. I will go on. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about how to get started selling and or contracting what area products or projects. So the first step I'm going to get into is being a student of the game, knowing products, options, suppliers, service options, how to get a quote, and then presenting and pricing. So, all right. So being a student of the game, I think this is probably the key. There's a lot to know about bathrooms, and investing in the learning is probably the key. The question may be how. I would tell people to self-educate, not self-medicate. So in my case, I will tell you, if you go to my blog, I've been blogging for, what the heck, maybe 18, 19 years now. We have probably close to aggregate, I don't know, close to 900 articles. There's a lot of stuff, bathroom modeling, accessible age-in-place remodeling. And then we have a whole slew at our YouTube channel of videos that'll show the installation of these products, frequently asked questions, and you name it. We really try to answer questions people have through content. So I would say, and I could lead you certainly to other people as well that provide input and insights on that stuff. So that's probably the first, mindset. The other thing is, if you can, get out to showrooms. So there's a number of people I know that are home access contractors that are really developing their showrooms and really making something nicer. And this one, I was, plugging a friend of mine, a company called JTech, his dealer ours. He probably has the nicest showroom, I think, in the country doing this, although he helped another guy that we put some product in that just opened up on the out in Pennsylvania. That also has a really beautiful showroom, and he's showing home access, but in a way that is that get people to really see it doesn't have to look institutional. Other keys are really to talk about developing the relationship. So if we had the ability to be more interactive in here, what I would like to do is really get feedback from you guys at some point about your approach with the contractors. I know that Karen talked about using an interior designer model, and maybe it's selling product And then, you need a relationship if somebody else is doing the contracting that would be okay with a labor only type of situation. There are some contractors who I'll tell you will not be okay with being a labor only contractor. They want to make money off the materials. However, another option may be to develop that relationship, might be to approach a contractor and say, hey, I can bring you the client, and if you can pay me as somebody who sells the project. One of the things people don't realize, they wonder, why companies like Bathfitter and Rebath and West Shore Homes charge $15,000 to $20,000 for a tub to shower conversion. And the main reason is their selling and marketing expenses are anywhere from 15% at the bottom to 25% of the sale. So one of the advantages could be, one of the approaches an OT could use would be to go to a contractor company, maybe a company like ours, and say, hey, we're going to bring you a job that's going to be sold with your products, and we want to make 10% on that job, or some number, 15%, some number on that job. And so in that case, the contractor, if it's a bigger contractor, the larger contractors generally will not take labor only things. So if you go after developing a relationship and want to sell the material, you're probably going to have to find a contractor that would tend to be mid to small in size. But if you're bringing a sale, you may be able to develop a relationship where you're paid as the marketing and selling part of the project, which could be pretty good, because a lot of these bathroom projects, I mean, probably minimum even a wet room, 8,000 to 25,000, probably most of it, tub to shower conversion in the $8,000 to $20,000 range. So developing that relationship with the contractors may take thinking through, how can you create a win-win and for you get and do a little bit better on that project. So just a couple thoughts for you. The other thing that I would recommend with being a student of the game is I tell people to look for, I call it a concierge supplier. So you know what a concierge is, but most people have never heard of this concept of the concierge supplier. But this is what I would tell people we look to be. What a concierge supplier does different than a supplier, supplier is, you send me stuff, I bid you on my stuff. And that's simple for me to do, not a problem. However, in the beginning, you may not know what products to use. So to me, more of a concierge supplier, just like, in a hotel, concierge, it might tell you, where to go in town and what restaurants and things like that. A concierge supplier you may work with them, and I'll show you a little bit about what I think a company like ours would like to see to help you further. But they're going to help you not only with, here's a bid for my stuff, but they're going to step back and say, okay, tell me about your client, tell me about your project, send me some pictures. And they might say, oh, okay, I think I can help you here, but I might recommend you use these products over there. So they're going to take more of a holistic approach to assisting you with a project. So more than just, hey, give me an image, I'm going to bid my stuff and go at it. So looking for a concierge supplier. And I'm going to tell you, most suppliers are not this, okay? Some suppliers, especially in the beginning, when people are a rookie, they really don't want any part of them because they're too time intensive. So I think when you look for a supplier that will teach you that, you want to be a student of the game, they want to teach you, that's a more valuable supplier, especially if you're looking to get into bathrooms and you're like, oh boy, this seems kind of like a big thing to me. So think about that, concierge supplier. The other thing I would tell people is you need more of a Nike mindset. You have to just do it. Analysis paralysis. You could try to think through every single detail of everything, try to understand everything in the beginning. There may be a little bit where you have to get enough info and then you just have to go at it and learn a little on the fly. It's just the entrepreneurial way. Now, maybe for me, it's easier because I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 25 and, I've had my ups and my wins and my losses. But I would say, with it, most entrepreneurs do your research, and then you got to get to the proverbial fork in the road. You have to take it. So in some cases, yeah, you want to learn, you want to get info from this concierge supplier, but at a point you have to bid it and go for it, and learn a little on the fly and live a little on the edge. So the second step in being successful at either selling bathroom products and or being involved in the contracting side is understand that this is not a one size fits all world. So I'm first, you've got tub to shower conversion projects. You've got like wet room projects, which are a whole different thing where there's no barrier, right? This type of a project, while looking cool, often requires cutting through the subfloor if there's a subfloor, putting something called a base former, putting tile in here. It's a cool look, and it's wonderful if you can do it. But if you're on a concrete slab, this is a whole different thing and much more difficult. So, when you're looking at products, I would tell people, the first place you're going to start is at the base. The shower pan is obviously especially important in home access projects, because if somebody can't get in it, it doesn't matter what's going on and how nice it is on the inside if they can't walk in it. So I'm going to show you just some options in pans. And this is really the first choice you're going to make is, do I need a standard pan? Do I need a custom pan? What kind of threshold? This is an acrylic pan with what I might call, this company calls it a low profile 2 3/4 inch curb. I'd call it maybe more mid-height curb. This is the Innovastone pan. I've shown you some pictures of this. This is a 1 1/6 inch stone pan, 2 tons of weight capacity. The drain is literally color matched to the pan. These are pans I import from Spain. I bring in containers of these from Spain. This is a ramped pan. This is, some people might have, this is a Best Bath product here. It's got a linear drain. They don't have to have a linear drain, but a pan with a ramp. There's positives and negatives to ramp pans. This is a pan with a ramp kit. This is the Innovastone here. This is also a Innovastone, but there's a separate ramp piece here. What I like about that is, you can literally put that ramp kit up next to the pan. And then, if a mom, moves down the road, goes someplace else, you can pull that ramp kit away and it doesn't look like a ramped shower pan. So that's a separate ramp kit with the pan. This is something called the base former. This is literally what's below by the subfloor that creates the one level wet room in the image I showed you before where it had all at one level. This forms the slope of the shower pan. And then this is a custom base. So this one had to have a ramp. This is literally, I started as a glass block business. My company started in 1977. This was literally a serpentine glass block wall we prefabricated on a custom shower pan with grout-free wall panels. So, these are all options in shower pans. So this is where I think, again, when you start out, you're not going to know all of these things. You're not going to know all the pricing of these things. So that's where I think concierge supplier is good. You say, hey, here's my situation. Here's my client. Here's the size. How can you help me? And we're going to talk a little more about quoting here in a little bit and what will help somebody like myself to help you. Now, grout-free wall panels, can you use tile? Can you use acrylic? Can you use fiberglass? I mean, there's tons and tons of options. I'm going to share with you grout-free wall panels. I think they're a nice solution for age and place and accessibility because they're easy to clean, and if you get the right one, they can look cool. There's nothing wrong with tile. The biggest negative to tile is it's a lot of maintenance and it can leak. So I'm not a huge tile fan, but from a design standpoint, you can do almost anything with tile, so there is benefits to it. But anyway, this is a grout-free wall panel system using a pattern called Bianco marble. See a big niche, grab bars, handhelds, etc. This is a pattern called it's a 3x12 vertically stacked subway. Again, grout-free. This is a marble stone, low profile shower pan. Now up here, you're going to see a glass block window. I would highly recommend never allowing people to cover over the window. There are options to make the window private if they're worried about, they don't want to show off to the neighbor next door. I would definitely keep the window in. So grout free. And this is, again, grout free wall panels. This one used a cultured marble, vertical niche, grab bar. This is a stone, another stone, cultured stone shower pan, and cultured stone corner shells. So all of this entire thing is all grout free, but it doesn't look it. So again, you can have some things that look fun. Now, with this next section, I'm talking a little bit about glass or no glass. The question in many cases with, all home access projects don't have to be doorless. Part of whether you have glass or don't have glass might they need a caregiver now or in the future. So, what are the options? Obviously, you could have a curtains option. You could have a product, we sell this called a shower screen, or some people call it a shower shield. This is a fixed piece of glass with a pivoting door at the end. The reason I like this is this pivot door opens 180 degrees to the outside. So it would give, in a tub to shower conversion, it would give about 35 inches of space to get into the shower. So it really gives you a lot of room to get in there. And then, depending on the person, bypass doors are certainly very popular to be used in tub to shower conversions. Obviously, a little more challenging if if you need a ramped base, that may not be the best selection, because there's going to be some type of something, not a U channel at the bottom, but some type of piece of metal to keep the water from coming out. So, but anyway, glass or no glass is a question you'll ask yourself. Another one on product would be really accessories. So, providing, fold-down seats. We've talked a lot about niches, grab bars. Like I said, I'm a big fan of keeping the windows in. There is right ways and wrong ways to do windows inside of showers. I literally wrote an article last week about how to incorporate a window in a shower or tub surround. People struggle mightily not only with what type of window, but how to waterproof around the window so water doesn't get behind it, which can be a disaster. So, but anyway, I don't like to cover the windows up because I think you need that. Obviously, especially if you're dealing with somebody older, they need as much light as they can get. And then, obviously just the idea of using grab bars as far as product options. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is, the options you can use to serve your clients. Obviously, today, I'm sure all of you are recommending bathroom products, and maybe some of you are selling bathroom products. But another option, beyond selling, is collaborating with the contractor. And again, it could be, maybe depending on the laws in your state, maybe you develop a joint venture company with the contractor and sell projects together, or you could approach that contractor and say, hey, I'm going to bring you a client, I'm going to sell it, and pay me as a sale for my sales and bringing this business to you, maybe 10, 15%. You can approach it that way. The other could become part of a franchise. If you said, hey, I want to get into contracting. Now, the reason I put this particular couple, I don't know if any of you out there know Greg and Karen Frank, but they are, I forgot which one's the OT and which one's the PT, but they're a husband and wife team, OT, PT team, that decided to start a home access contracting business, and recently have launched a franchise network called Greenlight Mobility. So they started as practitioners, then became home access contractors, and now they're franchising for home access companies. And then there's Next Day Access. We work actually with these franchise groups. So if you're looking at this and saying, boy, I don't know how to start a business, there are, and Next Day Access as a franchise group doubled they went from like 30 to 60 franchises last year. So growing the home access business is happening in a pretty big way actually right now. So these are some service options as far as getting into it. Now, as far as quoting a job, what do you need? What really is helpful is, well, in a perfect world, it's the rough framing of the shower. The reality is you won't have that probably because you're going to go in and there's tile there. There's a fiberglass one piece around. So when you're getting pictures, take a picture of it and measure from tile to tile, or from the end of the fiberglass shower to the other end of it, and from the back wall to the outside edge. Try to get an approximate idea drain location. The reason drain location matters so much is that it's going to drive, can we use a standard shower pan, or might we need a custom pan, or can we use a standard pan and have to move the drain? So drain location is very important in a wet area space. And the next would be location, size of windows or obstructions. Is there a window smack dab in the middle of a wall? Is there a heating, register that's, right up next to the shower and they want to make it deeper? Are there soffits above there? What's in the way? What might be an issue? Better measurements are always good. Now, get pictures of the bathroom. No, not this picture. But that's cute. No, the more pictures, the better. The type of pictures show the whole context of the shower or bathroom. Get close-ups of where the drain is at. Get stuff looking at the side where the tiles or wall panels end. More pictures are always better, just like in marketing, but in quoting a job, you can't have enough pictures. It's always good. Get more when in doubt. Understand and express to I'm going to call it your concierge supplier, about your client. Will they need a caregiver now, maybe in the future? Do they need a roll-in? Do they, can a low profile work okay for them in their situation? Do they have any special needs? Do they need a seat, a transfer seat? What's going on now, maybe in the future? What do we need to think? How do we need to think long run? Again, call the concierge supplier when you have this stuff. Not everybody is going to want to help you holistically, is what I will tell you. You're going to be better off in the beginning to not have a ton of sources, just because it may get confusing. So, as you get into it more, you may be able to broaden out your mix of suppliers. In the beginning, I would try to find a couple of people and companies you trust and work with them. And then as you get more knowledgeable, maybe you're going to expand your offerings, but don't make yourself too crazy. Now, as far as what's needed, okay, here's a drawing somebody sent me that I would tell you, we just sold a job based off this drawing. It's not very good. So the actual drawing, the door's in the 58-inch spot. In the 60-inch alcove here, this is where there's a tub surround that's coming out for a shower going in this corner. This drawing, while it does give measurements, and in this one, the contractor was putting our wall panels around the entire room and a basin here, but this didn't give me enough detail to know what the heck's going on. He sent me this. I called him up. I said, okay, Lewis, what do we need? And then we start talking about the job. So now this one is pretty good. This gave me, there was a frame wall that was going to be here, a frame wall here. This guy wanted a drain over here, giving me dimensions. This is a little bit, this is kind of a custom pan that he would need. And so this was pretty detailed and nice. Gave me plenty of things to go on. This one here is not anything I'm expecting. So this is a, design build remodeling contractor on a, I don't know which program this was out of, but this is wonderful. I don't need all this. It's nice to have it, but don't sweat it if you don't have it. But we get stuff like this on the left all the time, and we work with it. So even if you're, not real proficient, approximate measurements are usually going to be a good starting point. So as far as getting a quote, you would send these drawings, send your pictures, we'd have a conversation, we would determine products needed, and then we can price from there. Or if our company doesn't have the products you need, I can find you referrals in many cases to who would. Last step I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is pricing and presenting. It's helpful if you get into this market to know the tub to shower conversion market. I have some articles. This one literally talks about what's the price of tub to shower conversions in the market and why they can range from 8,000 to 20,000. This article talks about that. But while that is good and it's generally true, it's helpful if you can get to know pricing in your market, and that's going to give you a better idea of what kind of margins. I will tell you generally, and again, I don't know, people out there talk about. I'm sorry.
Someone's asking, what are margins?
Yeah, margins are, so a lot of people know markups, right? Hey, I buy a product for $1 and I mark it up to $1.50. If you took $1.50 divided by $1, that would be what's called a markup. Okay. So, and a lot of people love markdowns, right? Oh, the meal was $100, they marked it down to 70. That was a 30% markdown. Margins are let's say you sell a job for $100 and your cost of installing it plus the materials is $70. That would say you had a gross margin of $30 or 30%. That's not what you make, because below margins you have selling expenses, marketing expenses, if you have a facility, if you have a truck, da 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 da. So margins are a term used a lot in business. Gross margins would be what you're making from the variable cost of doing a job. So I hope that's somewhat clear. I could certainly talk to somebody more about that. I've been a business and business major for a lot of years. So sorry if I got a little techno jargony with you over there. But basically, it's how much you're making on a job, but it's not your bottom line profit, because there are your selling and marketing and overhead costs that come out of what are called gross margins. In the bathroom business, I would say margins made on jobs tend to be from 35 to 50%. So there is usually pretty good profit margins in the bathroom business. So the other thing, I guess, regarding pricing is once you start understanding what the market pricing is, and you start thinking through how much do I want to make, and margins or markup, either term, then you have to know and believe and know how to sell your value. And this is where presentations come in. Our company, we have a dealer network. So if anybody listening to this said, oh, wow, I'd like to sell product, or I'd like to sell bathroom jobs and work with a contractor, but I need a source to buy this stuff, and I need a source to help me show this stuff to my customer. Our company developed an in-home bath presentation program and a visualizer tool. You can see how the bathroom looks and before and afters, and it's the kind of thing that visually will help somebody see what this is all about, because if you show them a sample, they may not still get it. So presentations are important. The other way to show and present is, at a larger scale, is showrooms. So some home access contractors, some bath remodeling contractors, like this is a part of our showroom. We have a showroom with a bunch of different displays and things like that. So presenting the product, I think, becomes really important. And then, if you want to improve your odds of being successful as selling, let's say, bathroom products and or working with a contractor, I would probably recommend look at becoming part of a dealer network. I mean, that's what we have. We have dealers, and some of what I do is work with dealers, not only on the product, but also on the business side of things. How do you market? How do you get a lead? If you don't have a lead, you can't sell anything. So become a part of a dealer network could be a way to get started. Learn some selling skills, have a program to sell like this one up here. Work with somebody who's going to work with you. Not all suppliers. Some suppliers don't want to work with people who are new. That's not what they do, and they'll make you understand it right quick when you talk to them. So you want to work with somebody who actually will be open to doing that. Work with people self-educate. Like anything, there's a lot to learn. I would recommend having nicer products. If you go in with me too products, a fiberglass surround and acrylic surround, there's a lot of people selling them. It becomes more difficult. So I think it's easier in some ways for somebody who's newer to sell stuff that's more unique and niche oriented, because if people love that product, they may buy from that company, even if they're not, maybe as knowledgeable as some others. So, and then again, if you can, showrooms, presentations, samples are all good stuff. So, anyway, I'm sorry. Technically, I know it's been rough, and probably not as effective as we could have been today, unfortunately. But I know you'll have questions. If you're in the bathroom business, the proverbial crap will hit the fan. It happens to all of us. So, I put on here, who are you going to call? It's not going to be Ghostbusters. You certainly can contact me. I'd be happy to help. Or if you ask me for resources, I know other people, in and around this industry that I think are people who will help you. People like Becky at Ponte, Julia, I mentioned, Ponte before, but you can get me. Here's my email address. My cell is the best way to get me. And I am definitely a LinkedIn person. So, I'm on LinkedIn every day and answering stuff and involved with people. So I'll open it up to any questions, and I don't know how easy that'll be, Karen, to get them for me, because I know we've been struggling a bit with.
Yeah, I just took over the share screen. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I
Yep.
just took over the share screen so that way people could ask questions without reverberation. I'm assuming people aren't hearing the reverberation because it only started when you started sharing your screen. So,
Bummer.
yeah,
Okay. Yep.
this way
Okay.
we can all talk. That was a wonderful.
Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you
Good.
so much for that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm sorry that you're having I don't know what, on my end, if it was something, so.
yeah,
Mike,
Rochelle asked if you could share a link to your blog, but go ahead.
Yes, I absolutely can. So it's, if you go to innovatebuildingsolutions.com, you'll see what you call it, in the menu at the top, it says blog. And if you click on blog, you'll be there. And or Karen, I can certainly get you a link to that, and if you want to forward
I
that
just put it in the
on.
chat.
You did? Okay, great.
So one
Okay.
thing that someone else wrote, how slick is the Innovo stone? I have shower pans.
Yep. Yeah, great question. It's got a textured surface, and one of the things that we have in our kit is literally there's a board that has two chips on it, so somebody can touch that texture, and it's got a little bit like a little bit of grittiness to it. So with that being said, bases do have to meet a slip coefficient of friction. But this one I think does a nice job. So we have a sales case, like, so if anybody said, oh, I want to sell this and represent it, we have a sales case. There's a board in there, Karen, that has the samples on it, and or we can send little pieces of them too. They're little round chips, if you will, that somebody could touch and get a sense of that. Because yeah, that's something people will definitely worry about if they're going to slip on it.
Gail asks, is leaking an issue with the showers that open all the way? I think that was after you showed the half shower and then the shower door that opened 180.
Sure. Can leaking be, well, I'm going to call it water outside the shower pan, or water outside the shower. Uh, can it be an issue with a shower with curtains, a shower with a fixed shower screen, um, a shower with nothing, no curtains? Absolutely, it can be an issue. Now, the questions may be, either how can you waterproof the floor outside the shower, and or what can you use to keep more water in the shower. So first I'm going to talk about waterproofing outside the shower. So there are products made. There's a company called Weedy, there's a company called Schluter, and some of the people might have heard of those names in the tile business who make waterproof backer board that goes under tile. So one idea could be if you had a wet room, or even if you had a low profile pan and you were worried about water, you could use a waterproof board underneath the tile. So even if water penetrates through the grout joint, it's not going to go anywhere because that waterproof board's going to stop it. Now, beyond there, the question is, how do you keep water in? Well, if you went with a full wet room system, which is a one level bathroom, you waterproof the whole room. So you don't care if water's coming out into the quote unquote bathroom. Let's assume you don't do a wet room system. If you have let's say that low profile Inovastone pan, one way to keep water in is with that shower screen product with has a fixed glass. And the reason I like the pivoting part, Karen, is that you can slightly angle the pivoting door, and that helps water to stay inside the shower better than if that had been a longer piece of fixed glass. The other idea to keep that water in there is use, obviously a wall-to-wall glass system. Now, this is assuming that's it's not somebody in a wheelchair, who can't get in over, a piece of metal or something like that. So, but a full glass enclosure certainly would work. Or another thing could be adding a product called a water stopper. Water stopper is put on the edge of the pan you can roll a wheelchair over it. It's like a rubberized type of thing that you can roll a wheelchair over it, but yet it stands itself back up after the wheelchair goes over it. So those are some of the options. And I have a lot of articles about shower bases and shower base selection and videos too. So I got stuff. I guess I'll tell you, I got lots of stuff on these type of topics also.
And I'll put some of his links into the HMOTA.org website so people can see him.
Yeah, and there's one, Karen, if you, collapsible threshold banju put on there. I see that now. Yes, that's another term for, water stopper, collapsible threshold. Yep, that's a great thing. And there is also, Best Bath makes one of these. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know how many they sell, but they make a threshold. You can put the threshold on and remove it. So it can be a thing where you think, I might need it, and then maybe I won't need the roll down the road. So that's kind of a neat concept, I think. I don't know how popular it is, but I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
Melba asks, what's your opinion about a roll-in shower? Do they last if using wheelchairs frequently?
Oh boy, I think if you said, do showers last? I'd say the answer is yes, no, and maybe. Okay. It depends on how well they're built, right? I've seen stuff, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That somebody bought this, paid money for this, and it failed. So I think, when it comes to roll-in, in particular, and if you're not buying a base that is, the roll-in is, feature is built into the base, and you're relying on a contractor who's maybe never done anything like that, that's when things can get a little bit dicey. And so, there is, to me, there is more thought, I believe, involved in accessible bathroom remodeling than, I'm going to call it general bathroom remodeling, because you have to think about, let's say, a patient or somebody aging. So I would say the key is making sure that the system being used, A, is a good system, and then B, is the installation being done correctly? Because I've often said you can have the best product in the world, but if a hack puts it up, it's a bad product to the owner, and it may fail, right, if it's done wrong. So I think, if you're recommending a product, first you have to look, okay, what am I recommending? I feel good about it, and is there somebody who's going to be able to deliver a quality installation? Um, because if they can't, that it may cause problems for your client, obviously.
Yeah, I always feel like I don't care if someone's caps or not, um, or if they know ADA, especially if they know ADA, I find that completely irritating. But what I do care about is, do they know construction? Do they know how to slope showers? Do they know, what code is? Because I know the accessibility. I can do that all day, but I don't know the construction. That's what I need them to do.
Hmm. Right, right, exactly. Let's see. I see Kendall says back to shower screens. Mike, in your experience, oh, it went away. It said something about shower screens, but
Kendall, you want to ask
Yeah,
your question?
yeah, if we sound fine now.
Yeah.
My name's Kendall Cox. I'm from Enduring Home Solutions. I'm in San
oh
Antonio,
yeah,
DFW. Yeah.
I
So
know you.
yeah, we've used your products before and been very happy, and so have our customers. But in regard to that shower screen, I also find it intriguing, just because it allows more space to get in and out of those tight
Hmm.
areas. And when we're talking about water getting out of the shower, as an OT, I think about that it becomes slippery when someone is trying to step out of the shower. But my question was basically, when you have seen those in your experience, are homeowners putting bathroom mats there? Because if they are, then it's not that much water that's getting out.
Boy, I wish I could tell you, Kendall, we've sold the living daylights out of them and they're flying off the shelves. Um, I would tell you we sell them occasionally. I don't know that often what people are doing outside of the um, outside of the shower when they have them. Now, the thing that we do sell a lot of very frequently, I think I told you, well, I don't know if we started as a glass block company. Our corporation was started in 1977, and we prefabricate glass block walls. Most of the glass block walls we prefabricate are for walk-in showers, and most of them have curved walls. They go out straight and they curve a little at the end. And the reason for that, I mean, beyond the fact that it looks cool, but the biggest reason actually is it bounces water back to the drain. So the reason I like the shower screen, in some ways even better than the glass block wall, is that pivoting door. Now it pivots in 20 degrees and it pivots out 180. So, it's going to give you almost 35 inches to get somebody in, even in, like, let's say a tub to shower conversion, you're going to have about 35 inches to get in. And then when you angle that door in the pivoting portion on the end, it's going to help keep water in there. So, but no, I don't know. We sell those. The door I sell by far the most, 65% of the doors I sell are bypass doors. Um, I would say the walk-in screen 5%. You know, and I keep talking about it, and we're getting probably some more, but it's not a product people know about. They'll and if you put a fixed screen, let's say it was a fixed screen, it was, with this walk-in screen, it's 23 inches of fixed and then 15-inch door. But if you put a fixed piece of glass that was 38, it would be harder for a caregiver to help somebody around, kind of helping them, right? And it would be harder. You have less space to get in, and it's going to do a worse job keeping the water in. So to me, the little pivot thing on the end is a beautiful thing. But I've not sold them as well as I wish I could say that I have.
Yeah, they're intriguing. I don't know if any of the other OTs here think they are, but they're more aesthetic than a curtain. And the bypass doors, a lot of times for the clients that we're helping with, are just get really difficult to navigate. So,
Yeah, Right. It's hard to
That-
help somebody, yeah, especially if you have a caregiver situation, it's hard to help. But yeah, it's a cool little thing. So yeah, hopefully they'll catch on more. And it's 3/8 inch thick, so it's not some cheap wobbly thing either. So we inventory that, as you know, Kendall, we inventory these doors, the wall panels, the bases, because we also understand with the home access market, obviously there's some projects that, you're dealing with unplanned, situations that happen, and, you got to turn the job around quick. It's not, so it's nice to be able to get some of that stuff, literally from inventory. Kendall put niches. Did you,
That someone was asking what those boxes are called. That's what they're called. But thank you, Mike.
yes. Oh, thanks.
Kim is asking, can you put the niches wherever you want within the wall panels?
Kind of. On the vertical niches, which are going to fit inside, the 16-inch on center studs, you're usually going to position the tall vertical niches in between studs. On the horizontal niches, now if you have a 14-14, you could put it between the studs. If you have a long niche, you're going to have to reframe in behind the wall, and then you're going to put that niche in there. So, can you put them wherever you want? Kind of, but you may have to reframe depending on where they're located. Now, if somebody said, "Hey, what's going to be more time effective to install and cost effective to install?" It's going to be corner shells. But the niches are nice because you can get a lot of real estate, and most people, well, as my wife, I think I showed you that one image of my shower and said, most of that stuff is my wife's, and because she likes to say, the time from wake up to pretty takes longer every year. So most of us, get more stuff, showering product as time goes on. So I think, to get people to have those niches. Well, a good friend of mine, and probably some of the people on here might know Rosemary Rossetti from like Universal Design Living Laboratory, but in her shower, Rosemary, showers in a seated position. Her husband, Mark, is like 6'5". So, they have a niche that's way up there for Mark, and they have a niche, that niche that's low for Rosemary. So you can use multiple niches and place them, kind of where they go.
Kristen said you gave a range of 8,000 to 25,000 for tub conversions. Are the showers you've shown with the laminate wall panels, niches, and low floor plans much more expensive than fiberglass options?
Not necessarily. I would tell you, when you look at that 8 to 20, and that's an 8 to 20, 20 to 25 might be more tile, but if you look at this 8 to 20 for grout-free systems, the price level in many cases is a little less driven by material than it is on marketing and selling expenses, believe it or not. So what I usually find in the market is people that are 8 to 10 tend to be small contractors. They may or may not be licensed even, and they're just usually more lesser funded. Maybe they're getting everything through referral, etc. The people at 15 to 20 tend to be the big franchise companies, often selling, sort of the bath in a day, one day acrylic. A lot of money is tied into the marketing side of it and selling part. Most of my dealers are neither of that. Most of my dealers tend to be in the 10 to 15 in that project. Now, would our systems cost more than fiberglass? Usually, but not necessarily. Like, I think you'll find, if people look at us versus, versus a Best Bath, we're going to be, I bet, in some cases maybe less in there, not more. But when you look at it versus a fiberglass system you find at Lowe's or Home Depot, the real let's say the bottom of the barrel stuff, I mean, that stuff is going to be less. But if you're installing it, sometimes it's more of a PIA to install. So while it may theoretically be less, sometimes it can be harder to deal with. I know, some of our guys, we don't want, we're not working with somebody else's shower fixture they picked up at Lowe's or Home Depot, because sometimes the cartridges or things are just harder to work with. So I don't know. That was a long-winded answer. Sorry.
Mike, I think everyone's really enjoying this presentation tonight. Your slideshow was wonderful. You gave us a lot of really good information. We're actually a little just passing our time, so we need
Sure.
to wrap it up. But I just, again, want to say thank you. I know you can't see the comments, but a lot of people in here have some wonderful, beautiful comments for you. They really enjoyed this. They've learned a lot.
Excellent.
They're saying
Cool.
thank you for the presentation, and it really has been very helpful. One thing I just want to share with everyone about Mike, he did present here a year or so ago. And if you're somewhere where you really need to find a contractor, he's got some contractors that he works with. So reach out to him if you're looking for a contractor. He might have one in your area that he could connect you with.
Yes, contractors, I could, if somebody was interested in selling the materials, we do sell, so anybody on this call could become a dealer if they want. You don't have to stock as a dealer. So if somebody wants to learn more, get connections to people, or just call and they read my stuff and they think I'm wacky and they want to tell me that, they can do that too. It's cool no matter what. So I'm good.
Well, the chat is just full of thank yous and a great presentation. And, I think everyone really is grateful for your time. And thank you so very much, Mike.
Absolutely. And if there's any people want to connect with me, Karen, if you want to forward whatever stuff to me to get with them, I'm happy to follow up and follow through. So appreciate it. Thanks for allocating the time. I know for some people it's late at night, so I know being on the call, probably like, oh, okay, now it's time to get some ice cream and relax. So, right. Anyway, thank you. Have a great one, and appreciate you let me chat with the group.
It was our honor. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, and just so you know, I put your email address in the chat, so people may be
Yeah,
reaching out directly to you.
email, phone, it's not a problem. You can put my cell there. It's fine to share the cell, email, LinkedIn, whatever. Sure. I'd like to help people after. That's the key.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, have a
Cool.
wonderful night, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.